ghostly dog that foretells your death? A spirit that carries its father's bones? Forget the monsters you know. It's time to meet the ones you should fear. Welcome to The Purple Files. If you enjoy our videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get right into it. A global tour of the strange begins, not in some remote, unexplored jungle, but in the quiet, unassuming town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. For most of its history, it was a peaceful, ordinary place. But for 13 terrifying months, beginning in November of 1966, this town became the epicenter of one of the most bizarre and frightening paranormal events in American history. It was the home of a creature that was more than just a monster. It was a prophet of disease. The story began near a place locals called the TNT area, a dark, abandoned munitions plant from the Second World War, already rumored to be haunted. On the night of November 15th, two young couples were driving through the area when their headlights caught something that defied all logic. Standing by the road was a creature roughly 7 feet tall, with a powerfully built humanoid body and huge bat-like wings folded against its back. It had no discernible head, but from its upper torso stared two enormous, glowing red eyes that radiated pure malice. The couples panicked and sped away, but the creature unfolded its wings and took flight, effortlessly pacing their car even as it reached speeds of over 100 miles per hour, its hypnotic eyes never leaving them. This was just the beginning. Over the next 13 months, more than 100 different people, from construction workers to housewives to pilots, reported seeing the same impossible being. A volunteer fireman saw it rise from a field and fly over his car. A local contractor named Newell Partridge was watching television when his dog began howling at the barn. When he went to investigate, he saw two glowing red eyes staring back at him from the darkness. And his dog, which ran after the creature, was never seen again. The sightings became so frequent that the press gave the creature a name: Mothman. As the encounters grew, a terrifying pattern began to emerge. The Mothman seemed to be a harbinger, a dark omen of a catastrophe that was yet to come. Adding to the high strangeness of the events, many of the witnesses reported being visited shortly after their sightings by mysterious and intimidating men in black. These strange men, dressed in immaculate black suits, would ask probing questions about the encounter and sometimes issue veiled threats, warning the witnesses to stop talking about what they saw. This bizarre element suggested that something more than just a simple creature was at play, hinting at a possible government cover-up or a phenomenon that was far beyond our understanding. The entire town was caught in a grip of fear and paranoia, torn between the terror of the creature itself and the unsettling silence from official sources. Then, on the 15th of December 1967, the prophecy was fulfilled. During the evening rush hour, the Silver Bridge, the main artery connecting West Virginia to Ohio, buckled under the strain of traffic and collapsed into the icy river below. 46 people lost their lives in the disaster. In the aftermath of this tragedy, the town came to a chilling realization. After the bridge fell, the sightings of the Mothman and the visits from the men in black stopped completely. He was never seen again. This has left a dark question hanging over Point Pleasant for decades. Was the Mothman a malevolent entity that somehow caused the disaster? Or was it a tortured, angelic being trying desperately to warn people of the impending doom? We may never know. We now travel across the Atlantic to the misty, windswept coast of East Anglia in England, a land steeped in folklore and fear. For centuries, its villages have been haunted by a creature that is not just an animal, but a direct omen of death. It is a monstrous, ghostly hound, the size of a small horse with shaggy black fur and eyes that burn like hot coals. Its name, Shuck, comes from an Old English word for demon. They call it Black Shuck. While tales of spectral hounds are common in Britain, often linked to the pagan legend of the Wild Hunt, The story of Black Shuck is cemented in history by a terrifying, well-documented event. On the 4th of August 1577, during a violent thunderstorm, the beast materialized. It first burst through the doors of a church in the town of Bungay, to the horror of the congregation inside. The Reverend Abraham Fleming, who was present, wrote that the demonic dog ran down the aisle with a great flashing of fire, killing a man and a boy instantly and causing the church steeple to collapse through the roof. Before anyone could react, it vanished, only to reappear 12 miles away in another church in the village of Blythburgh. There, it repeated its horrific attack, killing 2 more people and collapsing part of the tower. When the demonic hound finally disappeared, it left behind a permanent mark as proof of its visit. Giant, mysterious scorch marks burned deep into the solid oak of the church's north door. Those marks are still there today, a chilling reminder of the day hell itself seemed to visit the English countryside. But this is not just a story from the distant past. The legend of Black Shuck is very much alive. In 1905, a man in the village of North Walsham reported seeing the beast, which ran straight through him, leaving him trembling in the dark. As recently as 2013, archaeologists excavating the ruins of a nearby abbey unearthed the skeleton of a massive dog, estimated to be 7 feet tall on its hind legs, buried in what appeared to be a grave. While there is no way to prove a connection, the discovery sent a shiver through the local community. For over 400 years, the legend has endured, with locals and visitors alike claiming to see the giant ghostly dog on lonely roads, its appearance always seen as a warning that your time has come. From the vast, sparsely populated plains of Venezuela and Colombia comes a ghost story so chilling it is used by parents to frighten their children into behaving. This is the legend of El Silbón, or the Whistler. He is the tortured spirit of a young man who, according to the legend, came home one day to find his father had not prepared the deer entrails he had requested for dinner. In a fit of rage, he murdered his own father. When his grandfather discovered the horrific crime, he tied the boy to a post, whipped him mercilessly, and then rubbed hot peppers and lemon juice into his wounds. As a final act of damnation, he cursed his grandson to wander the earth for eternity, carrying his father's bones in a dusty sack over his shoulder, followed by the sound of his own baying dogs. The Whistler is described as a gaunt, unnaturally tall figure, sometimes said to be 6 meters high, stalking through the grasslands, forever searching for his next victim. But his most terrifying feature is the sound that precedes him. He constantly whistles a simple, haunting 6-note melody. Do, re, mi, fa, so, la. But the sound is a deadly trick. Locals swear that if the whistle sounds faint and far away, El Silbón is right beside you and you are marked for death. If the whistle sounds loud and close, he is far away and you are safe for now. He is said to be a punisher of the wicked, preying specifically on drunkards and womanizers he finds wandering the plains alone at night. When he finds a victim, he is said to stop and dump the contents of his sack on the ground, slowly counting each one of his father's bones. If no one hears him by the time he is finished, the victim is doomed. He hoists them over his shoulder and breaks their bones with his bare hands, adding them to the gruesome collection in his sack. Some versions of the legend say he sucks the blood from his victims' navels to quench an eternal thirst. The legend is a powerful cautionary tale, a reminder that in the lonely plains of South America, the sound of a simple whistle can be the last thing you ever hear. We travel now to the beautiful Zanzibar archipelago off the coast of Tanzania. Here, on the island of Pemba, a uniquely modern and terrifying entity was born in the 1970s. It is a creature of mass hysteria and psychological terror known as the Popabawa, a Swahili name which translates to batwing. It is not an ancient legend, but a living, evolving horror story, deeply intertwined with the region's political and social anxieties. The creature is described as a dwarf-like being with a single cyclopean eye, small pointed ears, and, as its name suggests, leathery bat-like wings. It is also said to be a shapeshifter, able to change its form and smell of sulfur, but its appearance is secondary to its horrific actions. The Popobawa is a nocturnal predator that attacks people, almost exclusively men, while they sleep in the perceived safety of their own beds. It is a violent, invasive entity, and its attacks are said to be a terrifying physical and psychological ordeal. But the most bizarre part of the legend is the creature's demand. After an attack, the Popobawa warns its victim that they must tell everyone what happened to them. If the victim stays silent, out of shame or fear, the creature promises to return night after night, attacking them and their family members with even greater ferocity. This has created waves of public panic so intense that, during major sighting flaps in 1995 and 2007, entire towns of men have abandoned their homes to sleep outside together, guarding their homes with machetes and believing there is safety in numbers. Interestingly, these major waves of Popobawa hysteria often coincide with periods of intense political turmoil, such as elections. Skeptics believe the story is a form of social metaphor, a manifestation of the anxieties surrounding political power and social change. But for the people who have barricaded their doors and armed themselves against the night, the Popobawa is all too real. It is a modern boogeyman, a testament to the power of fear, and a chilling example of how a legend can take on a life of its own. Deep in the desolate heart of Central Asia lies the Gobi Desert, one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. According to local Mongolian law, these sands hide a creature so deadly that even speaking its name, Olgoikayi, is considered bad luck. To the rest of the world, it is known as the Mongolian death worm. It is said to be between 2 and 5 feet long, a thick, blood-red, worm-like creature with no discernible head, eyes, or mouth. It hibernates for most of the year, but emerges during the hottest months of June and July, often after it rains, when the Gobi is dotted with yellow flowers. The terror of the death worm comes from its legendary and frankly unbelievable offensive capabilities. It is said to be able to spray a yellow acidic venom that is instantly lethal to anything it touches, corroding metal and killing a human in seconds. As if that were not enough, it is also believed to have the ability to kill from a distance by projecting a powerful and deadly electrical discharge, much like an electric eel. Famous explorers, from Roy Chapman Andrews in the 1920s to Czech cryptozoologist Ivan Macaulay in the 1990s, have mounted expeditions into the Gobi to find proof of the creature's existence. The locals are so terrified of the worm that many refuse to even guide the expeditions, fearing that drawing the creature's attention means certain death. During one of his expeditions, Ivan Macaulay attempted to lure the creature out by using low-frequency vibrations and even small explosives, but to no avail. Skeptics suggest the legend could be an exaggeration of a real animal, perhaps a type of sand boa or a limbless lizard. The venom could be a misidentification of the defensive spray of a spitting cobra. But no known animal possesses all of the deadly attributes described in the legend. For now, the death worm remains a legend, a terrifying monster straight out of science fiction, said to be lurking just beneath the sands of the world's most remote desert. Our journey now takes us to the largest and most unexplored wilderness on Earth, the Amazon rainforest. Here, for centuries, indigenous tribes have passed down stories of a fearsome beast that stalks the jungle floor. They call it the Mapinguari, which translates to the roaring animal, or the fetid beast. It is described as a massive hulking creature, over 7 feet tall when it stands on its hind legs. It is covered in thick, matted reddish fur, which is said to be so tough that it is completely immune to bullets and arrows. It moves with a slow, shuffling gait, and its long, sharp claws are capable of tearing apart palm trees with a single swipe. But its most bizarre and unsettling feature is a second mouth, located in the middle of its stomach. According to legend, this stomach mouth emits a dizzying, nauseating stench that can disorient and paralyze any human or animal that gets too close, leaving them helpless before the creature attacks. For a long time, scientists dismissed the Mapinguari as a myth. But some researchers now believe the stories could be describing a surviving population of the giant ground sloth, a prehistoric beast thought to have gone extinct thousands of years ago. One scientist, ornithologist David Oren, has collected over 100 eyewitness accounts and believes the creature is real. He points out that the giant ground sloth had dermal ossicles, bony plates in its skin, which would make it seem bulletproof. The creature's terrifying roar and slow, shuffling gait also match what we know about the giant sloth. One of the hunters Oren interviewed described shooting the creature at point-blank range, only to have the bullets bounce off its hide. He claimed the beast let out a roar so powerful it made him dizzy, and emitted a stench so foul he was nearly sick. He only escaped with his life because the creature was slow and clumsy. While mainstream science remains skeptical, pointing to misidentification of anteaters or bears, the consistency of the eyewitness accounts presents a compelling case. Whether it is a ghost from the past or something else entirely, the Mapinguari remains one of the Amazon's most terrifying and mysterious inhabitants. We now travel to the island of Tasmania off the southern coast of Australia to hunt for a ghost. But this is not the ghost of a person. It is the ghost of an entire species, one that we know was real. This is the story of the thylacine, better known as the Tasmanian tiger. The thylacine was a remarkable animal, a carnivorous marsupial with the head of a wolf, the striped back of a tiger, and an incredible jaw that could open to almost 90 degrees. It was the apex predator of Tasmania until European settlers arrived and, wrongly blaming it for killing livestock, placed a bounty on its head. This led to a brutal hunting campaign that wiped the animal out. The last known thylacine, a male named Benjamin, died of exposure alone in a concrete cage at the Hobart Zoo on the 7th of September 1936. After that, the species was officially declared extinct. But was it? In the decades since its supposed extinction, there have been over 5,000 documented sightings from all over Tasmania. In 1982, a park ranger named Hans Narding had a 3-minute encounter with a thylacine in the dead of night. A sighting so credible it prompted an official, year-long investigation by the government. Footprints matching those of the thylacine have been found. Even blurry photographs and video clips have emerged, showing what appears to be a living, breathing Tasmanian tiger. The evidence is so compelling that it has fueled a modern scientific quest. Scientists are now actively working on a de-extinction project, using preserved thylacine DNA to try and bring the species back to life. But many locals believe this effort is unnecessary. They claim a remnant population has survived all along, hidden in the island's vast, rugged wilderness. These tantalizing clues suggest that this incredible predator may have survived against all odds. A ghost from the past, still silently hunting in the darkest, most forgotten corners of its island home. From the dense, volcanic jungles of the island of Java in Indonesia comes the legend of a creature that rules the night sky. It is named for the sound it makes, a terrifying, resonant cry that echoes through the trees, a hoo. This is a cryptid so large, it defies all known biology. The ahurl is described as a colossal bat, but with the distinct, intelligent face of a primate. Its body is covered in dark grey fur, its arms are longer than its legs, and its most prominent feature is its incredible size. Witnesses claim it has a wingspan of up to 12 feet, nearly twice the size of the largest known bat on the planet, the flying fox. It is said to be a powerful predator, using its massive wings to swoop down from the jungle canopy with terrifying speed and silence. The first documented encounter by a Westerner was in 1927, when respected naturalist Dr. Ernest Bartels was exploring a waterfall and saw a giant, unknown bat fly over his head. According to local folklore, the ahu has a taste for fish and is often seen snatching large prey directly from the surface of the island's remote rivers. But more chilling are the stories that claim it is powerful enough to attack larger animals, and has even been blamed for the disappearance of small children who wander too close to the jungle's edge at dusk. Skeptics have proposed that the ahu could be a misidentification of a known animal, such as the large and rarely seen buffy fish owl, whose wingspan can reach 6 feet and which has a deep, hooting call. However, eyewitnesses are adamant that what they saw was not a bird, but a mammal with a leathery, bat-like wing structure and a monkey's face. The size and description also don't fully align with any known owl. Some theories suggest it could be a surviving species of prehistoric pterosaur, while others believe it is an undiscovered species of giant carnivorous bat. Whatever it is, the ahu remains a terrifying legend, a giant, winged primate hiding in one of the world's most remote and unexplored rainforests. Our next cryptid takes us to the coldest, most desolate and most mysterious continent on Earth, Antarctica. In the 1990s, stories began to circulate among Japanese whaling research crews about a new and deeply unsettling form of life that has been seen in the frigid southern oceans. They call it the ningen, the Japanese word for human. The ningen are described as massive, whale-sized creatures, estimated to be between 20 and 30 meters in length. Their most terrifying feature is their appearance. They are said to be completely pale white, with a smooth, rubbery skin and a distinctly humanoid shape. Reports claim they have recognizable arms and legs, and some have even been seen with 5-fingered hands. They are almost always seen at night, often in the sub-zero waters near Antarctica, making them difficult to photograph. They are said to move with purpose and vanish back into the depths as soon as they are spotted. The legend gained global notoriety after a story was posted on the popular Japanese internet forum 2channel. The post told the story of a crew member on a whaling ship who saw what he thought was a foreign submarine in the distance. But as they approached, he realized it was a living thing. He described a massive, white, human-like shape that quickly dove and disappeared. This post went viral, and soon, others began sharing their own alleged stories and blurry photos. Some users even claimed to have found evidence of the ningen on Google Earth, pointing to large, white, unidentified shapes in the Antarctic waters. Skeptics argue that the ningen are nothing more than misidentified beluga whales, albino whales, or even giant rays seen from an odd angle. The lack of any clear photographic evidence supports the idea that this is a modern internet myth, a creepypasta that has taken on a life of its own. And yet, the sheer number of anecdotal reports from sailors and researchers keeps the legend alive. It is a chilling example of how even in the 21st century, our planet's most remote corners can still hold monsters that are beyond our comprehension. To end our global tour, we return to the United States, to the dark and sprawling forests of the New Jersey pine barrens. For nearly 300 years, these woods have been haunted by a creature born not from nature, but from a mother's curse. This is the enduring legend of the Jersey Devil. The story begins in 1735 with a woman known as Mother Leeds. Already having 12 children, she became frustrated upon learning she was pregnant with a 13th. In a moment of despair, she raised her hands to the heavens and cursed the unborn child, screaming, "Let this one be the devil!" According to the legend, her wish was granted. The child was born a monster with the head of a goat, large bat-like wings, cloven hooves, and a forked tail. It is said to have unfurled its wings, killed the midwife with a flick of its tail, and then flew up the chimney, escaping into the wilderness, where it has remained ever since. For centuries, the Jersey Devil has been blamed for strange tracks, livestock killings, and a terrifying, blood-curdling scream that echoes through the pines. Even historical figures have claimed to see it. Joseph Bonaparte, the elder brother of Napoleon, reported seeing the creature while hunting in the Pine Barrens in the 1820s. But the most famous series of encounters occurred during 1 week in 1909, from January 16th to the 23rd. Thousands of people across New Jersey and neighboring states reported seeing the creature and its cloven footprints in the snow. The week was one of absolute panic. Trolley cars in 2 different cities were reportedly attacked by the creature. Schools closed and factories shut down as workers were too afraid to travel to their jobs. Armed posses were formed, venturing into the woods to hunt the beast, but they always came back empty-handed. The sheer volume and consistency of the reports during that single week turned the Jersey Devil from a local folktale into a national phenomenon. It is more than a cryptid. It is America's boogeyman, a legendary monster that has terrified a region for generations. A constant reminder that some stories never die. From the cursed forests of America to the haunted plains of South America and the frozen oceans at the bottom of the world, these stories persist. They are more than just campfire tales. They are living legends, woven into the history and the fears of the places they call home. They are etched into church doors, buried in the pages of history books, and whispered in panicked voices over the internet. Remind us that our world is still vast, still mysterious, and that no matter how much we explore, there will always be dark corners on the map where monsters dwell. And that is it. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the Purple Files, click the like button, and drop a comment down below. More videos to come, and until then, thanks for watching.